Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the July 27th, 2023 Board of Selectmen meeting. The first one we've done at night since the week before the pandemic, I believe. And I think the last time Lauren was far away too, so it's kind of all coming back now 3 years later. But as we always do, we will start it off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of July 13th, 2023?
Lauren Raven, so moved.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor? Fred Camillo is a yes.
Lauren Raven, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the minutes for the special meeting of July 13th, 2023?
Lauren Raven, so moved.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor? Fred Camillo is a yes.
Lauren Raven, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Okay, and finally, is there a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting of July 24th, 2023?
Lauren Raven, so moved.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor? Fred Camillo is a yes.
Lauren Raven, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this is a very, very light agenda, which is probably a good thing for Thursday night. So I'll keep my first selectmen's updates to a minimum here. I just want to thank everybody who came out on Saturday to clean up Rosa Hartman Park on the border of Stamford and Greenwich. We had a successful cleanup. Greenwich Green and Clean brought most of the stuff. We had some friends from Stamford there. Greenwich was very well represented there. Janet was there. But we're going to plan to do that more a couple times during the year now. It's a great asset, about 14 acres, but it gets pretty dirty and it's not, it doesn't get the attention it should. So we're also planning on trying to improve the trails there and add a few more. So it's another great asset here in town that, and that's, in this case, we work in a great partnership with Stanford. So thank you to everybody who was there. We had a ribbon cutting for a new restaurant, another one in Greenwich, Freebird it's called. They have a restaurant in Ardsley. They're a different name. It looked pretty good. It's right next to Whole Foods on the Post Road. So that whole area there is becoming a little mini district there. We're still waiting for Patsy's Pizza to open up there. I know. I've been waiting. That sign's been there for about 6 months. So hopefully they'll get going. But it should be successful there. The food looked really good, and there was a lot of people going in there. So we wish them a lot of luck. A little heads up on the paving issue. The Post Road is a state road. We've been getting lots of complaints about that. That is a state project. For several days when they started it, the manhole covers were exposed several inches, and it resulted in a lot of flat tires and some other car damage. So I've reached out to DOT a few times about this. They've had some new people there as liaisons, so they're just getting used to the role there. But I expressed my concern about that. It's one of those things. It has to be done, and but I think there were so many of them. People coming up when they're driving, coming up on them really quickly, and we even had a case where a friend of mine's son, swerved to avoid it and almost hit another car. So. Be careful when you see paving. There's going to be exposed covers there, so hopefully, thank God it's getting done now, but just be extra careful there. Also, I just want to mention there was an article in one of the online publications about a case that's about 70 years old, a person who was accused and convicted of a murder in Greenwich at the Indian Harbor Yacht Club. So the whole story wasn't printed. It was an opinion from somebody, and so we're getting a couple calls and emails about that. Somewhat familiar with the case, but I did speak with the person today on the phone, and we had reached out to GPD. It is under control of the state of Connecticut. The person is 99 years old and is the longest serving prisoner in the United States. But it's a lot more than was in that publication today. I had two conversations on it. So just know that it's not within our jurisdiction there, and certainly, talking with a couple people just to get more information. But these articles get out there sometimes, and then people start immediately jumping to conclusions. So I just want to let people know that we have inquired, but it's certainly not something that the Board of Selectmen can do or overturn. Nor would we. We don't have all the facts on it. They had the garden tours today with the Land Trust. I did try my best. I went there and I got detoured, and I was late for another meeting, so I couldn't make them. But I don't know if you got a chance to go today, so hopefully that was successful. Tomorrow, we are meeting with Commissioner Mark Boughton, former mayor of Danbury, who's coming here to look at, we picked 4 spots in Greenwich that we'd like the state to look at as possible help partners in helping us address these projects. It's pretty big ones. So, some in your neck of the woods, Peter. So that will take place tomorrow. It's not a big meeting. It's representatives from the town and the state there. So we'll make sure that Commissioner Boughton gets all of the information and certainly hears our concerns. On the 31st, it will be Peter Grunell Appreciation Day in Old Greenwich. And then we will, I think it's at 5 o'clock or 4:30. I'll have to double check. 4:45. And then also, I just want people to know that in front of Restoration Hardware, which is the old post office, there's a water fountain there that hasn't been used for a long time, and I always thought that would be a beautiful place for a lit up fountain. And so I visited it last week with Director Siciliano, and then met with a landscape architect 2 days later, and also met with somebody who would be very interested in helping transform that whole area. That is town property. Our town's property goes all the way up to the building where Restoration Hardware is. It stops at maybe about 15 feet in front or 10 feet in front. So the idea is to light up the memorial and light up the flagpole, but also do water features around it and light them up. It's not a cheap project. It will cost money, but there seems to be significant interest. The more people I speak with, more interest there is. So that's an exciting thing, and I reached out to the Sustainability Committee to see if they'd be interested in maybe making it solar to power it. Lots of possibilities there, but it's something that I think could really enhance what is an area that has a lot of meaning here in town. And it's beautiful now, but I just think of what it could be if we focus on it. So we are working hard on that. So with that, I will turn it over to my friend in Japan. I usually say good morning,
Good
Lauren.
evening. Yes. Good evening, everyone, and thanks to my colleagues for accommodating my schedule and doing an evening Board of Selectmen meeting, and certainly for the town employees that this is after hours for you, so appreciate that as well. Also want to congratulate my colleagues for receiving the nominations from their parties to once again represent the town of Greenwich as the Board of Selectmen. I just have some quick updates. Free Music Friday is happening again, assuming that the weather cooperates this Friday, August 4th. And we were really excited to see the banner go up across Greenwich Avenue. So hopefully people saw that. We had some really great sponsors that not only are helping us pay for the bands, but also putting money into Greenwich Forward, which is the reconstituted 501c3 from Think Greenwich. So what we're doing now is also pricing out. We've been talking about putting skins or covers on the barriers that are protecting the restaurant nodes. So we're in the process of getting pricing there. And I want to thank our intern, Leo Zhang, who's been super helpful to me in getting this going. And that's my update. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. And again, I can't say good morning, Janet. Good evening, Janet.
We'll say konnichiwa. All right. Thank you, Fred. I just want to honor that yesterday was the 33rd anniversary of the passage of the Americans with Disabilities Act. So I reached out to my friend Alan Gunsberg, who chairs the First Selectmen's Advisory Committee for People with Disabilities, and asked him to share some of his thoughts. So Oh, fabulous. So he says, yesterday, July 26th, we commemorated the anniversary of a pivotal moment in American history, the signing of the Americans with Disabilities Act. The ADA, signed into law by President George H.W. Bush, marked a turning point in our nation's journey towards a more inclusive and compassionate society. It enshrined the rights of individuals with disabilities, ensuring equal access to opportunities, services, and facilities. As we celebrate this milestone, let us reflect on the progress we have made as a community in fostering an environment that embraces diversity and empowers every individual. The efforts and advocacy of countless individuals have shaped Greenwich into a place that cherishes inclusivity. Yet, as we honor the past, we must also look to the future. There is still work to be done, challenges to overcome, and barriers to break. Together, let us renew our commitment to creating a Greenwich where every voice is heard and every person can participate fully in our society. Thank you for joining me in celebrating the anniversary of the Americans with Disability Act. Together, let us continue to write history through our actions and commitments to an inclusive and thriving community. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you. I actually represented Greenwich yesterday in Meriden with a few different parts of the state, including Condot, in celebrating the 33rd anniversary. So we really appreciate the opportunity to spread our message through the town. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Are you? Okay.
I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you. I didn't want to interrupt you. Thank you. And Alan's been a great partner and working on making sure that we're not only ADA compliant, but we're ADA inclusive. So thanks, Alan. Okay.
Thank you.
With that, we'll go on to old business. We just have one item, which is the request for the temporary closure of St. Roch's Avenue for the St. Roch's Feast. Ms. Frankie Cortez, I don't see him in the room.
He's supposed to be online. You don't think we have him? If somebody is here for St. Roch,
Let me see if he, hopefully he's by his phone. I could. We haven't heard any, we do this every year and it's never a problem. And I did not hear any complaints. I don't know if Lauren or Janet did, but this is something we do all the time. And we wanted to give it a second read, as we always do, unless it's urgent to do it on a first read. So I don't know if my colleagues heard anything.
Well,
I have not.
I just want to do my due diligence. We learned in December when Chabad came to us and asked for the closure of Arch Street for the menorah lighting, which was, by the way, really fun. Who doesn't like donuts? But what we learned then was we can close the road, but the road still has to be passable in case there's an emergency. And so accordingly, it's up to the organizers to go to our police department and just make sure everything's fine. So I do remember going to St. Roch's last year, and there were tables and chairs in the streets, and I'm assuming that is that the same plan for this year?
Yeah.
Does it conform with that requirement?
It does, and everything is also run by the police department. And it opens up so people know it's during this feast, which is from the 9th to the 12th, it opens up during the day. So it's not closed all day. It's just closed for those few hours during for the feast at night. But the police are there on site too, so it's pretty tightly run. So, and again, this is something we do every year. So we just wanted to make sure we weren't missing anything if somebody had another concern, but we did not. So, okay, I think we'll entertain a motion.
Lauren Rabin, so moved.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo's a yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Okay, well, hopefully see you out there. Come for a pizza frite, and I think they have me working the wine, so come and visit me. I always have company there, so I'm never lonely that night, that's for sure. Okay, going on to new business. We're Where did I just do it? And then we have one item there, and I just lost it. Yeah, thank you. Oh, there it is. Okay, thank you. This is the Elm Street detour, East Elm Street detour. And I see Chris Franco here, and is Hector and Nick here? Nicolai?
No, just myself and then. If you could walk up there and state your name and make sure. Hi, I'm Chris Franco. And also, Jim Parlante is on the telephone. He's 7119. So he's appearing on our behalf. He's an executive with AVT Excavators, which is the firm that is doing the work for us. Okay, great.
I found it here. Okay.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to appear. So I'm Chris Franco, and I am the principal of 97 East Elm Properties and 99 East Elm Properties, and we're developing 4 condominiums on East Elm Street at 97 and 99 East Elm Street. We're getting pretty close to being finished. We've been working on it for about 18 months, and we are now getting ready to do the connections, the utility connections to the town. And so we've hired VD Excavators to do that work for us. And they've come out several times in the last couple of weeks to survey the situation. And we need to do some test work in the road because we're trying to locate the sanitary line, which we believe is about 9 feet down. And the VD has advised us that they think it would be unsafe to do these test pits without closing down the road during the daytime hours. And I'd like to give Jim an opportunity to sort of explain the situation.
Sure. We all promote Jim?
Yeah, please just state your name and
Thank you,
then,
Chris.
go ahead.
Hi, Jim.
Jim Parlanti from ABD Excavators, project manager for the company.
Thank you. Good to see
Okay.
you and hear from you, Jim. You have the floor.
Okay, thank you, Fred, and ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, like what Mr. Frankel was saying, the situations involved there where we have to get a storm drain manhole in. A very tight scenario out there. We're going to try to squeeze it between the existing water line and the existing sanitary line. Now, in the permit that Chris has gained from the sanitary sewer department, Mr. Feminella and Mr. Mandris and Mr. Romano, we have to dig a test hole to locate their sewer to see if it would be right to put it in between their sewer and the water. It's going to be very tight. There's only a cavity, maybe of 4 feet. With the manhole being 4 foot diameter, it may not work. So we may opt to go on the other side of the road, between the existing gas and the existing sewer. That may be a little dicey too, because we only got 6 feet. So as you can see, we're going to be entertaining and making Swiss cheese with these test pits throughout the whole road. The only way this really could get done with the safety of everybody involved and to expedite it, hopefully in a timely fashion in 2 days, is to temporarily close the road, not at night, just like about a 9 to 3 on preferably next Wednesday, which I believe is what, the 2nd, and Thursday, which is the 3rd. And we locate this. DeAndrea will be out there doing the inspections. Mr. Romano from the sewer department will be doing inspections. We achieve the depth of the sewer. We achieve where we got to go with this storm manhole, and then hopefully we can live happily ever after. Now, what I'm entertaining, and hopefully this would work, trying to simplify this closure. So if you're heading up Millbank, 40 East Elm, we would put a sign in there, East Elm closed to the right, only local traffic and residents. The good thing about this, where we're working at 97, it will not interfere with any resident's driveway. So they can enter from the right, go to Millbank, or enter straight ahead if they're on East Elm, or enter left on Millbank if they're coming down Millbank. So what we'll do, let's go with the Millbank headed straight up. We would head straight up on this detour, okay? Get to Connecticut Avenue, right before Connecticut Avenue, put a detour sign with a right arrow. Now, granted, these are all going to be on stands, okay, so we can take them down at 3 o'clock. Once the vehicular traffic goes to Connecticut Avenue, we get up to Lincoln. Before they're at Lincoln, there'll be another detour sign with an arrow pointing to the right. That now will exit everybody out to East Elm. They have the option to go left, they have the option to go right. That would take care of Millbank. Now, coming down East Elm, heading to Davis Avenue, what we would do, we put another sign before they get to East Elm heading right, and we'd say road closed, same thing, to the right, only local traffic. Proceed going forward, detour going down Davis Avenue, get to the end of Davis Avenue, take a right on Bruce Park Avenue with a detour to the right to Bruce Park Avenue. Right before you get to Mason Street, another detour to the right, arrow, head up Mason, back up Millbank, and now we completed a complete square. And we would do the other way the same way. If people are coming down East Elm and they want to go down Lincoln Avenue, they would take a right, a left, right onto Connecticut Avenue, left on Millbank, and we'd say the same thing. You cannot enter left going to Millbank. Go all the way down, Millbank, Mason, left on Davis, straight up on Davis, and straight into East Elm, passing the entranceway. So what we're basically doing is we're creating like a rectangular square to get around that little cavity of 97. It would not affect the residents. I would get an officer at each side of East Elm, in between Millbank, one on Millbank, and one at the corner of Davis, and they would direct the local traffic in and basically reinforce the signage that I would have. And that's basically the entire temporary detour package. Each morning we put the signs up, each night we take them down.
I think the only thing that I would add is that it will also not impact pedestrian traffic. So pedestrian traffic will be able to continue to pass through on the sidewalks.
Thank you, that was one of my questions. And then, did we say this is just one Wednesday, or is it multiple?
Jim?
Wednesday and Thursday.
Wednesday and Thursday of next
Yeah.
week? Okay.
Correct.
Have you had a chance just to reach out, and I understand it has to be done, but have you reached out to the neighbors there on that street?
We just found out we were going to have to do this 2 days ago, and we did put notices in our neighbors.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we see this all over, but it's always, you're good to do that, just to give them a little bit of a heads up. And as long as, I know the road very well, and it's obviously tight, so it looks like you have a good plan there. So I'll let my colleagues ask any questions that they may have.
Well, my question, I'm just seeing this now, and normally we have 2 reads so that there's a chance for input, public input. And if it's a matter of urgency, then obviously we can waive that. But have you gone to the police department or all the other departments that you need?
Yeah, Jim, you're handling that through your firm, I understand.
Yeah, no, that we haven't really contacted any of the departments, but I could jump on that immediately tomorrow. If that's because that is the high priority, and that's what I was explaining to Chris. I want to make sure that we have accessibility, especially for the EMT, especially for the fire truck. Chris, I'm not really familiar with the street that much. Where are the hydrants in lieu of the closures? Where are the hydrants on these?
Well, I know there's one hydrant on the Millbank. So we're sort of if you're going up East Elm Street, if you can visualize it and it starts to turn, we're kind of at the top on the left-hand side if you're coming off of Millbank. And there's a hydrant closer to Millbank on East Elm, and I'm not certain where the hydrant is on the Davis Avenue side, or even if there is one.
I think there is, but yeah, I mean, if you could, I mean, obviously, you can contact, you said you spoke to the fire department? Or he has it?
No, I need to speak. Would I speak to Mark on that, Fred? Who would I speak to over there?
You could go to whether it's any of the, Chief McHugh or Assistant Chief McCarthy or Lubowicki or Chris Pratico. You can send it to me and Chief McHugh, but
Okay.
we definitely want to make sure that, something that they can get through there, if God forbid, if there's an emergency. And I know this just happened right away. And I know you've been very good about always making sure you've contacted the various departments that would be involved. But yeah, if you could, we're very sensitive to that. We always want to make sure that we are listening to neighbors who may have some concerns. But certainly, if you can do that, Jim, tomorrow, and just let us know. I'm sure the chief will call me anyway, just to let me know. But happy to be on an email or a call early in the morning if you want tomorrow.
Sure.
Just not between 9 and 9:30, but I can do well before that or after that, just to make sure that everybody's on the same page there. And we do that all the time, but I just want to make sure that they're aware.
Right.
Another data point is that we expect to do the work, assuming that we get through this will be a test pit to sort of locate things. And then the actual work will take place likely the week of August 14th, and it will not require a road closure because they'll at that time know what they're working with and be able to target it.
Right.
And we will, of course, have police as part of the, directing traffic and all of that.
Yeah, I know that's standard, but I just,
Yeah.
I know Jim always usually does that, but I know this came up pretty quickly, but I think
Well,
Janet.
if it facilitates things, could we condition our approval on the approval of the police and,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
I was
absolutely.
going to suggest that too.
Yeah, we can do that. We'll condition it on, the approval of the police and the fire, but let's talk in the morning, Jim, just to make sure that's
Sure.
done. So, and then we could put it in writing so my colleagues could see it too.
Sure. How do you want me to contact you? Email Fred, or how do you want to do this?
Yeah, if you could just send it to fred.camillo@granitect.org and copy me at acamillo@gmail so I don't miss it. It gets overloaded sometimes. But Chris can also give you my cell number if you didn't get that. If you
Okay.
could, Chris could text it, and then you and I will talk after, and I'll make sure you have all that information.
Okay, all right. Yeah, we'll take care of this first thing. We'll get a hold of police department, fire department. What about the EMTs? How do we contact that? Does that go, the police takes care of that too, or how do we do the EMT, which is very important?
Yeah, usually, I mean, whenever you do something like that or an event, we go to fire, police, and GEMS. But when you speak to Chief Heavey and Chief McHugh tomorrow, just run that by them. Again, I don't, as far as this particular project, I'm not sure. They'll be able to tell you exactly who would have to sign off on that. And just the reason why GEMS usually has to be aware of it is something ever happens on site, they want to be able to be there really quickly. So I could copy Tracy Shettinger on that too.
Okay, all right, that's great. I appreciate that, folks.
All right. Thanks, Jim. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, no, I appreciate it. Thank you, Chris. And so we'll vote it and approve it, just conditioned upon the police and GEMS and all the various approvals that are needed.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, do we
Yeah,
have
thank you.
a motion?
So Lauren Raven, I motion that we approve the road closure pending approval from all the various services, fire, GEMS, police, etc.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor? Fred Camillo's a yes.
Lauren Raven, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. And Jim, well, we'll speak in the morning. Thank you, Chris. Bye, Rach.
All right, thanks, folks.
Thank you.
very
Have a great
much.
night.
Yes.
Okay. Next item, as we come to the end, is appointments and nominations.
Comment,
No,
public comment.
I don't. Oh, it's right before. I'm sorry. I'm looking off the second. Public comment. Do we have any public comment? Peter?
Well, in general.
Just. Oh, yeah. Sure, you have the floor.
Not really, this isn't, I didn't. But I'm using the screen for Zoom, so you would interrupt the Zoom screen if you did that. So do you have it, sorry, do you have it somewhere, like on a thumb drive? Like, I wasn't aware he was going to do a presentation in the meeting
Yeah,
today.
if you want to do a presentation, just let Ken know several days before so we can make sure, because we may disrupt and then you'll be a disruptor.
We have a very small audience here. I mean, you could show it to people here,
Yeah.
from your, it doesn't have to be It's just the people online, which we don't have a lot of people online. And is it something that you could email after the, afterwards?
just go to that
No.
screen?
I don't know how to do that. It wasn't set up for this, because I wasn't aware that it was going to be a video presentation.
Yeah, actually, I already passed out. I have
Yep.
a few more.
Yep.
Is it something you could possibly email? Because I could show it,
You guys all have one?
Peter, I could show it on the screen if you have it as an email. Is it something
I
you
have it
can?
on the USB.
Okay, I could do that as well.
Okay.
I think we just.
Yeah, if you, why don't you
Yeah, just-
explain it now, and
Go ahead.
Yeah.
anybody who wants it, they could have mine, this way you can get going in case we have to do anything else.
This is going just as planned. Almost as well as when I went to the Harbor Commission the other night, I lost my voice. They were lucky, I guess. But anyway, here we are. My name's Peter Alexander. I'm a 75-year resident of Greenwich. And I have been practicing as a landscape architect for 40 years. And I've been very fortunate to be in a position where I'd love to share some of my favorite things. To try to explain this, there's Google Earth, if you want. You could see at low tide, you can see the tremendous amount of silt that has accumulated in Greenwich Harbor. Now, because of things like precise latitude and longitude, which is included in this picture, we can really find out where the good stuff is and where the bad stuff is, and make sure we don't blanket everything as good or bad. But I really think that the combination of the increased storms and that activity is going to make Bush Harbor an even more important harbor of refuge for these storms as this weather goes on. And I really feel that the town may be exposed to liabilities due to inaction. And what I'd like to propose is you guys help me with the Harbor Commission. And I try to explain this in this fact sheet on the back, which I'd love you to hear from you on and vote on eventually. I'm looking for your help to be able to do testing so I can start doing the planning. I do want to qualify or quantify. It's hard to say how much property values will be affected if we don't do anything, or how they'll be affected if we do the wrong thing, but I really want to do the right thing as much as I can. I also want to make sure everyone knows that my international experience includes getting a machine here from Finland, which cannot be used in the harbor. They are being manufactured now, but the one that's up on Riversville Road, or the JC runs, can be used on the Byron River, but it can't be used in Indian Harbor. So what I'd really like is you're encouraging me to go forward, including with the Harbor Commission, but I really just want permission to do sampling on town land.
So, okay.
Oh, and
let me-
another thing, when I brought this up quite a while ago, I've given up on shared immunity. I checked it out and I'm covered.
Okay, thank you. So, how did the Harbor Commission react to this? Were they?
They were kind of nice, but I'm going to go present to them again now that I
Okay.
can talk again, which.
Okay, so what are you asking of us?
To be aware of this and at some point vote to encourage or go through all the different silos and say it's a good idea and that I can really handle it all.
Okay, if you could just follow it up with an email to us all, and
You three, it's okay?
Yes, and Town Attorney McGeechee is here, so maybe
Okay.
include a town attorney's office on this, just so because sometimes, we're going to need, all the time, we're going to need a little bit more information before we attempt to approve something that we may not have jurisdiction over. So.
Yeah, I was going to ask the same question, Fred, like, what's our authority here?
We'd have to find that out, because I don't want to say, yeah, it sounds like a good idea, and we do it, and then they say, Peter, who told you to do that?
Well,
So,
No, come on, I wouldn't let you do that.
Could I?
Been there, done that.
yes.
So I serve as the liaison to the Harbor Management Commission. And Peter, what we heard you ask the commission to do, was it last week, was to look for an emergency measure to do this testing. But there's already a plan that the Corps of Engineers is going to be testing starting in October. They've set aside $500,000, and they will be testing this dredge material, and then that will then let us know as a town what needs to happen to dredge the harbor. So
It's extremely important to have a backup set of tests.
So what you're asking for is a backup set of tests.
Eventually, yes.
All right. So, Fred, does that help?
Well, I still would.
I don't know what our
think
authority
we
is
have
to
to-
do that, because what I understand from working with the commission and the Corps of Engineers is that it's their project, and
It
that
is.
they will be doing the testing, not the town.
If you guys encourage me to work with them, which has happened many times for me, luckily, I really enjoy working with the Corps, so.
Yeah, no, we'll.
A wink and a nod is okay.
Yes, wink and a nod. So if you could send that email, and then we'll certainly get confirmation what we can and can't do from the town attorney. So, but thank you, and thanks for, always caring about the environment, Pembroke, the harbor. That does really show significant, a significant issue there, but we knew that already, but.
But
If you
it's
ju- so if
really
you just-
easily contained now.
I know,
and,
but again, it's, when you
forget,
have
I
other
have all the
jurisdictions there
answers.
that have precedent over us, and I just don't know what the extent of our advocacy, how far that's going to get you, but certainly we'll send the email tomorrow, we'll have an answer for you.
Really? Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't say what it's going to be, but
That's
you'll get an
lightning
answer.
fast for government.
Thanks,
Actually,
Pete.
one of the reasons I'm shaking my hands to see if we can
Thank you. Oh.
get this done is that, as Byram was declared really super dirty, it's really good to test this time of year where the runoff is, but now we can find out where it's coming from exactly. So, thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Appreciate it. Okay, going on to appointments and nominations. I think we have 3 on tap.
Yes, hold on, I just gotta bring it up on my
Take your
phone. All right, Lauren Raven, I motion that we approve Philip Dodd to move up to a position of R3 on the Historic District Commission for a term expiring, sorry. Trying to read this on my phone,
Take your time.
sorry. For a term expiring 10/31/2025.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo is a yes. We have 4 yeses now.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Okay. So Phil got 4 votes there, so he set a record. I'll have to tell him that.
Yes, we have a 4th selectman today. Right. Lauren Raven, I motion that we appoint Angela Pucci as returning member of the Housing Authority, also known as Greenwich Communities, for a term expiring July 31st, 2028.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo is a yes.
Lauren Raven, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
And I'll take that
And
4th
five-
there as a no. So I was going to tell Angela there was a 3-1 vote.
And finally, Lauren Raven, I motion that we approve the nomination of Robin Greff as a new member of the Board of Human Services, position R6, for a term expiring June 30th, 2026.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo is a yes.
Lauren Raven, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Okay, thank you, Lauren. And thank you, Leo. All right, is there a motion, seeing no other business, or a motion to adjourn?
Lauren Raven, so moved.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor? Fred Camillo is a yes.
Lauren Raven, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Don. And thank you, everybody who came here for our first night meeting in 3 years.